Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Tampa, Florida, and Florida College Rugby. Today, the North takes on the South for the right to party, and no better place to party than right here in Florida. UNF and USF on the campus of the University of South Florida. A beautiful day for rugby, sunny as can be, 78 degrees, but I feel like a 79 personally. I think it should be even higher than that as the sun is beating down on these players. Hopefully they get a little bit of refreshments at halftime. Taking a look at both teams, starting off with the starting lineups. First for the visitors from North Florida. Number 1, Evan Brown. Number 2, Christopher Friend. Number 3, Gabriel Gonzalez. Number 4, Fort Setzer. Number 5, Arthur Barbosa. Number 6, Logan, the forbidden name, Holben. Number 7, Caleb Griffin. Number 8, Connor Kurak. Number 9, Dylan Nurnberg. Number 10, Eli Reynolds. Number 11, Liam Buchanan. Number 12, Jason Martin. Number 13, Desmond Ford Green. Number 20, Talon Leonard. And number 15, Eduardo Gonzalez. And the starting lineup for the home team, the South Florida Bulls. Number 1, John Reynolds. Number 2, Giovanni Antonita. Number 3, Michael Toroas. Number 4, Marco Fragrosa. Number 5, Derek Lysam. Number 6, Caleb Lowe. Number 7, Barrett Joy. Number 8, Gavin Hodge. Number 9, Joseph Thornton. Number 10, Paul Marcia Lacara. Number 11, Isaiah Taylor. Number 12, Michael Burrell. Number 13, Caden Hankins. Number 14, Tristan Brown. And number 15, Daniel Felicano. And this game is up and running. As a reminder to our fans at home, whether you're in Jacksonville, Tampa, Florida, or the rest of the country, the accurate score and time are on the field with our serve for today's game. If any subs do come in, I will try to update everyone as much as I can. However, it's all up in the air depending on how this game goes. North Florida, take a look, trying to start out early strong. North Florida has had some trouble in the beginning of their games getting prepared and getting started. However, they have had some better chances in the second half. As for South Florida, they are on a 3-game unbeaten streak. They were on a 2-game winning streak prior to last week. However, they ended up giving up a 17-point lead to Central Florida in the second half. We'll see how that affects the game. Taken by Jason Martin, passing it to Durag Desford Green, looking to pitch it away, but is not going to get it. Nurnberg trying to exploit a possible 2-on-1. Looked more like a 3-on-2 personally. Holman looked to be the intended target on that, but it ends up in Brown's arms, and he rolls his way to right around the 10. Dedbert sending it to the back, skips 3-on-1 developing, ends up rolling through the legs of Leonard and picked up by Friend. And we'll hear the first stoppage of the game, and it'll be a penalty called against North Florida. USF will get the ball for the first time today, and it's a quick tap by the 15, Feliciano Munoz. South Florida with a pod, taken by number 6, Lowe. You know, the only problem with Lowe's name, it's spelled L-O-W-E, and if you recognize the Rays, you know there's a Lowe and a Lau. So the question is, which one is he pronounced? Is it Lowe or Lau? I'm choosing Lowe for this one. Dancing number 5, Lee Sam. And we'll hear a whistle, and North Florida's going to get it right back. The penalty. North Florida, if I have to comment on one thing they do right, it's goal line defense. When they get deep in their zone, they start getting really scrappy and they start drawing penalties. The 9, Nurnberg, looking for touch. Kick is up and it'll stay in bounds, and South Florida will recover. Buchanan attempt to tackle. Not going to get it. South Florida running, tumbling, and South Florida is going to dive it down for the first points of the game. The kick by Nurnberg just didn't go as far as he had planned. Buchanan just couldn't get there in time, and it ends up resulting in a few dancing, some passes, and South Florida just managed to find the overload. It's a common theme with North Florida giving up points early in the game. The try Scored by number 12, Michael Burrell, who's also going to attempt the conversion kick here. 5-0, looking for 7. Kick is up and it is through. 7-0 the score for USF with under 5 minutes into the first half of this game.
Hold on!
Both schools have a few things in common, not only from a rugby standpoint, but also from a campus standpoint, as both campuses are located near orange dinosaurs. USF by the Mossy Museum, UNF by a shopping center that was formerly a putt-putt course. This leads to today's game being the Battle of the Orange Dinosaur, in my opinion. Personally, they should hand out a small, nice-looking trophy. Kick goes more than 10 by North Florida. South Florida recovers. South Florida, the pod. Big push by Brown. I'm expecting we'll hear a penalty and it will be against the Deadbirds. And it looks like South Florida is going to look for touch on this one. Might aim this way, I might have to get ready to catch it. I won't. And just like the last kick, it does not go out of bounds. No lineouts yet. Leonard came close to coming out of bounds, but doesn't do so. Something I'm really looking for with both teams is they kind of run a little bit separated, so there will be opportunities for Jackals, and both teams also have a bit of a drop problem. Lots of drop passes, knock-ons, and I think we just had our first one. No, we don't. Delayed penalty called for North Florida, and the Deadbirds are going to get it. It is a low one, but it goes into Bulls territory. I'm personally expecting this to be a big set-piece game based on those mistakes. I'm just waiting for the first scrum of the game. However, we're going to see a line out first for North Florida. The throw-in today for the Deadbirds will be by the captain, 8-man Connor Kurak. The sir making sure that the line out is even for both teams. And he just gave the signal to Kurak to throw it. They go to the second pod and almost had it. However, South Florida is going to get it off the bounce. Good attempt to take advantage of South Florida, who was ready to go to the first pod. However, they didn't get to it, and North Florida couldn't swat it down. However, it will be what looks like not releasing called against South Florida, and in spite of that, the Deadbirds are going to have the opportunity to do it again. And it looks like they're going to take the points. North Florida electing for the penalty kick. Reynolds has been pretty hit and miss. Granted, he missed the game against South Florida. Well, he didn't miss the game, he was in the game, but he didn't kick during the game due to an apparent injury, and now he is back. This kick is going to be a far one. Very little wind today. However, the wind is on his back, and he is inside the 10, but outside the 22. North Florida looking to strike back, 7-0 to score in favor of the Bulls. Reynolds. Kick is up. This one looks straight. And they're going to say it was wide. Had the power. Looked like it had the accuracy, but it just goes right. And we will see a dropout by South Florida as it went out the back. The good news for the Deadbirds, though, is South Florida is going to kick it back to them, so they have a chance to redeem themselves and maybe get a try on the board, which would be great. Caught by Reynolds, whose kick was wide. Reynolds dancing, looking for a hole, almost has one, passes it to Holman, who's brought down. This game influential for both teams for different reasons. If you're North Florida, you're out of the playoff, unfortunately. However, you're looking to host a relegation match as this one is knocked on and South Florida is going to pick it up. However, that tie last week, and it will be not releasing called against South Florida. And a quick tap by Martin. Martin to Ford. Setzer, and this one goes backwards but stays in bounds. Really crazy dumps by North Florida, however they maintain possession. South Florida currently 5th in the rankings. Top 4 make it to the state championship semifinals. And that tie against UCF, very influential. If they lose today's game, I say they're out of playoff contention. If North Florida wins this game and the next game and a few good things happen, they may have a chance to host the relegation match, as the 5th seed will take on the 8th seed and the 6th seed will take on the 7th seed in those relegation matches. Hands in the ruck called against South Florida. And Nuremberg is going to elect to kick this one out of bounds for the lineout. First lineout should have been won by North Florida, but was instead won by South Florida. This one inside the 22. North Florida inching their way into South Florida territory with 30 left to go in the first half. North Florida went with their second pod the first time. I'm expecting them to go, or they went with their second pod the first time, and they go for it again, and this time it's caught. And North Florida is going to tie 1-1 on lineouts 1. So far, no scrums, and this one's going to get picked up by South Florida, and the sir is going to say a ruck was not formed, and this one moves on. 2-on-1 developing, and a potentially momentum-saving tackle by number 2, Christopher Friend. Big miss. South Florida is going to kick this one out of bounds, and I end up with it, and it goes right through my legs. What was interesting there is South Florida had the overload 4-on-1, and they elected to kick this one out of bounds. And what's more, it was inside the 22. So North Florida is going to get a bit of a gift with a line out right on the 10. In all fairness to South Florida, you do move North Florida out of your zone. And now I'm going to see if North Florida goes with their first pod over their second pod. They do, and it's smacked and stolen. South Florida. That was number 5, Lee Sam, who read that one, and it's picked up by Griffin. Griffin picking this one up. Ruck was not set. Kurak dumps it back to Griffin. The Deadbirds will set it up. 2 great plays by Lee Sam and Griffin to read both offenses like that. Martin almost bobbled by Reynolds. Gate called, taken by number 5, Arthur Barbosa. North Florida sending it to the weak side for their backs, looking for a possible overload. North Florida crawling their way. Oh, and a big dump. And unfortunately, it'll be a forward pass by Ford Setzer. Right idea there by Setzer. He wasn't going anywhere. He was right up. Unfortunately, there just was not enough. The support was just not where it should have been for that to have worked out, but it was the right idea there personally. And finally, we will see the first scrum of a game that I assumed would be a scrum-heavy game in favor of the Bulls. Crouch bind set by the Sir. Big push by South Florida, and they will get it. And here comes a kick. Will this one go out of bounds? Yes, it will. Right on the fan fence, right out of the scrum, and just inside North Florida territory. A vast majority of the past 7 minutes of the game have been played in South Florida territory, excuse me. First time we've seen the ball in North Florida territory in quite some time, and it's just barely in it. I don't think we've had a line out, excuse me, so far awarded to South Florida, as North Florida is going to get this line out. And a great tongue twister having to say North Florida and South Florida back to back. This one's up, and this one goes wide. Who's going to pick it up? It's bouncing around, and North Florida's going to pick it up. And this one's ripped out, but Griffin is going to recover it. Griffin trying to finally, North Florida is going to secure it. Hold. And attempted jackal, not going to be good. Gonzalez. The hold by Martin. Setzer, and this one gets knocked on. It's going to be a high tackle called, however, against South Florida. The 8-man is going to get this ball, and he's going to kick it out of bounds, and we will see another line out. Good position inside the 22 for the Deadbirds. So far, it's been North Florida lineouts only, but it's gone to both teams pretty evenly. Only 15 minutes in, and we have a lineout heavy game. 7-0 the score in favor of South Florida. North Florida looking for the second pod. Quick pass to the front. Gabriel Gonzalez, and they're going to get it. Some trickery out of the North Florida playbook, and it ends up resulting in possession. Deadbirds looking for the hole, held by Durag Desford Green, and he's brought down. Tried to find an offload in there. This one is bobbled, and whoa, what happened there? Either a wide pass or it may have gotten kicked. And South Florida is going to drive them from inside their own 22 into North Florida territory. Costly mistake as it was fallen on by Gonzalez. Holman now takes it. Attempted jackal there by South Florida. Gonzalez. The pass looking for the backs. The hold by Martin. Attempted jackal by South Florida. Not going to get it. The hold. Taken by Reynolds.
We're walking forward. Boys, stop waiting. We're creating.
Brown.
Ready, up.
Looking for the back line. Gonzalez to Martin. Martin holding the ball, looking to dump it off, but wisely holds on to it. Setzer. Griffin. North Florida looking for their back line now, the skip. And it falls. I want to say it fell backwards. However, the sir is going to say that it's playing off the floor. And now South Florida will have a chance after almost 10 minutes in their zone to take advantage. South Florida will get their first line out of the day, their first awarded line out of the day.
No, USF balls. That is USF.
Come on, boys, win this.
South Florida tends to go quick, and they're in a maul. And we will see the first maul of the day. Big push. This ball's coming sideways, and it's taken by number 6, Low. The 10 with a reverse pass. And South Florida is going to get their second try off of probably one of the greatest hacky sack passes I've ever seen. Lacara, you see that pass often in practice, but it is a very risky one to go for. And he ends up passing it to Burrell, his second of the game, and it is 12-0 for South Florida. Burrell, once again, he gets the try, and now he has to go for the conversion kick.
Joey!
Burrell, one-on-one for conversions to Gay, and that one's good again. 14-0 the score from South Florida as we enter the halfway point in the first half.
Let's go. Come on, boys. Let's fill them up.
Reynolds lines up to kick it back to South Florida. Denver's going to chase. This one goes 10, and it is caught by what looks like number 6, Lau. Or excuse me, that was number 3, Toroas.
Go, Derek! Cal! Do not stop! Go!
Big wheels there to take it to the 10. South Florida, this one bounces out. Will it go out of bounds? Yes, it will. Looked like it was touched in the end by a North Florida player. Looked like it got bounced by a basketball. Quick throw-in, though, by South Florida. Looking to catch the Edwards off guard. Man runs alone. It'll be number 2, Antonietta. 4-on-1 developing for South Florida. And this one looks like it's going to work. Big run by 13, Hankins. And Hankins is going to get in. One of the most common things in rugby is just finding the holes and finding the overloads. And South Florida on there found a 4-on-3, which turned into a 3-on-2, and Hankins basically just held on to it and outpowered. And we will now see a 19-0 game. Burrell 2-on-2 for the conversion kicks, but both from right down the middle. Now he's going to have the hardest kick in rugby from that in-touch line. I do not envy him on this one. If he can make it. Kick is up. He has a leg, but that baby's going to go wide. The score stays 19-0. He overestimated it.
Your turn to score.
Each time you touch it now,
You lose scope an hour and a half early for nothing, bro. Let's go.
oh, wait.
2 tries conceded in a 10-minute period here for North Florida. USF on a momentum push. If you're North Florida, you're looking to find a way to get momentum onto your side, whether it's a scrum, a line out, or a really bad knock-on. This kick is up, and it does not go 10. And it looks like we will have a halfway scrum. The scrummy today for North Florida, Christopher Friend. The scrummy for South Florida, Giovanni Antonita, whose name I have pronounced incorrectly, I'm sure, multiple times in today's game. Crouch bind set by the Sir. Quick push in and quick kicks by South Florida, and they're going to win the second scrum of the day. South Florida just outside the North Florida 10. Lowe holds on to it. The ball pops out of the ruck. Potential high tackle there. And it's going to be a penalty against South Florida, and that may be what the Deadbirds need. The scrummy hands it off now, and North Florida's going to look for a touch. This one is up, and it just goes out of bounds inside Bulls territory. The kick and the throw-in once again, Kurak. Four in the line out for North Florida. The Sir making sure that there's a tunnel available. And Ford Sets are just using that size advantage to the Deadbirds, and they needed it. Big, and what happened there? Looked like maybe a kick attempt, and South Florida's gonna get to it, and we will hear a whistle. However, the Sir is going to play something that occurred. He's going to play a knock-on. He is going to play a knock-on. Must have been, I can't see it very well. There's a hill a little bit. What must have happened was a knock-on that bounced off the offender's leg and got kicked down there. Otherwise, it would have been great position for North Florida because you have a lot of space to defend, but now it's brought a little bit ahead. Just inside the 10, or right between the 10 and the 22. All the scrums so far have been awarded to South Florida, and none have been won by North Florida. And this one's going to collapse. Everyone's slow to get up, which isn't good. I say it every week, week in, week out. This is the most well-known, yet also the most dangerous part of this game. It is up to the Sirs of any rugby match to ensure that the scrums are done in a safe and rugby-like manner. And hopefully this time we get it. Otherwise, I personally would just elect for the quick tap. Third scrum of the day, try number 2. Or attempt number 2, I should say. And this one pops out pretty quickly. 2 to beat for South Florida. And it is almost tackled, bobbled, but brought back into the possession of Burrell. Burrell bringing it in North Florida territory. Oh, big hit by number 13, Ford Green on Hankins. And this one's going to attempt to be held up by the Deadbirds and attempted to be stolen. However, you're going to hear the Sir yelling release. The aid man there, Hodge, with some big wheels. And it'll be a quick tap off the penalty by South Florida. North Florida being careful to allow him to go 10. And taken by number 5, Lee Sam. The hold by Antonita. And this one goes really far back to the 15, Munoz. Attempted jackal, not gonna happen. South Florida, dumb hold, and Ford Green attempted to steal it. However, he's going to incur an advantage. High tackle called against Fort Greene, who wanted to steal that one. And we will see South Florida looking for touch. And they will get it. Attempted catch by a fan nowhere near him. Or that was actually the assistant coach on South Florida, excuse me. (19-0) the score. This is how that second try began, as South Florida slowly marches their way toward the North Florida try line. Uncontested this one, and they're going to maul it. Second maul so far, very reminiscent. North Florida looking to push him out. However, he's not going to get it. Low. With the ball, North Florida trying to jackal, not going to get it. Good try by number 2, Christopher Friend. The pass to the wing, manages to do a little dance. That was number 11, Taylor, who's going to stay up and finally gets brought down, and it will be, we're going to hear a whistle and a penalty. And a little bit of extracurriculars there by North Florida. Many teams this season have been opting for the quick tap and the points, or the quick tap and the potential for a try over getting the points off of a penalty kick, and South Florida will do the same here. And they will get it. I mean, I guess in terms of numbers, the closer you get, the more that you should just try and go for, well, the try. But at the same time, you really have to have a size. Burrell, 2 of 3 on conversion kicks. This one closer to his range in terms of position on the field. Not straight, but a little more centered, or I should say a lot more centered than that last kick. The kick by Burrell is up and wide again. Just a little bit too far to the left. Score 24-0.
That's crazy, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. Purple is the same thing. What's he got left? Purple is the same thing.
Less than 10 minutes left to go in the first half. If South Florida wins this game, they need it, because next week they take on Florida State, whom I will admit had trouble against St. Thomas, but they are still a very formidable opponent. Big kick there by Reynolds. And that one ends up in the USF try zone. And the Bulls looking for a kick. And we got a tennis match coming up. Here comes rugby tennis. Gonzalez, the catch. And Leonard is going to bring it into South Florida territory. And it'll be a penalty called against North Florida. And South Florida is going to look for touch. As I was saying, top 4 teams, if South Florida can break through and get a little bit of help from Central Florida, which, let's face it, will never happen intentionally. If they do get the help, they will play and travel to the number 1 seed, who I'm expecting to be St. Thomas, and they will play them in the state semifinal, and then 2 versus 3. And the winner of those games will go on to fight for the state championship game and maybe a few potential bowl games against some out-of-town teams. Or out-of-state teams, I should say. The line out, uncontested to the second pod. And a very light pass by South Florida. Looking for the overload again. Passes it to the 11, who's going to run up the sideline. Doing some dancing, and he's going to be in the try zone. Hasn't put it down yet, and he does. The 11, Isaiah Taylor, gets his first try of the game. Taylor, we've seen a little bit of that elusiveness earlier in this game, just couldn't get it the first time around. The second time around, uses some speed, uses a couple nice looking dance moves. I'm sure he's great at the tango, and he gets in for a 29-0 lead. Burrell. This one is way more centered than the previous two kicks. He's 2 of 4 on conversions, looking to make it 30 plus, and he does. 31-0, the estimated score. Roughly 5 minutes remaining in the first half. The correct clock, on the Sir's watch, which today is located on what looks like his left hand.
Come on! Maybe we can get 8 points. Is it 5 points for 4 shots? So she's starting. Maybe we can get 10 right. I know we got to do
The kick, a low one, but it goes far by Reynolds. South Florida looking for the kick again, but this time they're going to pass it, looking for the offload, and that baby was forward. The first forward pass call against the Bulls. That one was by their 10, Lacara. UNF will get their first awarded scrum of the day. We'll see if they can make some magic happen, maybe even put up some points before the half and switch momentum. Personally, you hear me say the word momentum a lot, but that is rugby. Rugby is a game of momentum. If you get out to an early lead, it's probably going to stay like that. But if you can switch it up, chances are you're going to win it. Or chances are you can make momentum sway your way. That one won by North Florida, taken by Martin. Nuremberg to Griffin. And it'll be not releasing called against the Deadbirds, number 7, Caleb Griffin. And now the Bulls looking for a touch, and they'll get it, and that one flies right over my head, and the fans aren't even going to try. There's a hill behind me full of fans, and none of them even wanted to catch the ball. South Florida with their umpteenth line out of the game, and so far it's been pretty effective. This one almost contested, but not going to get it. Lopsided pass, and still ends up in the hands of the Bulls. The Bulls looking to add on to their 31-0 lead here in the first half. The Bulls slowly making their way inside North Florida territory. The hold by Lowe. Four-on-one developing, 2-on-1, 1-on-0, taken by number 14, Brown, and he is pushed out of bounds by what sounds like Eli Reynolds. And that could have been a try-saving tackle for the Deadbirds, as we will see a North Florida lineout inside South Florida territory, inside the 10. The throw in by Kurak, uncontested. And this one rolls backward into the hands of Jason Martin. Martin dancing around a little bit and manages to get it to Gonzalez. Gonzalez with a kick into no man's land, and this one is going to bounce out of bounds. A little more position for North Florida to defend compared to where they were after the kick, and we will hear a double whistle from the Sir. Reaching into his pocket. I wonder if he's giving a card to someone. The line out will be a South Florida line out just outside the 10. Sir checking his watch. We could be at the end of the first half. Not sure what the stoppage was on. I couldn't see anything, but he's going to let the clock continue. And South Florida is going to get this line out. Last few plays of the first half, and they're going to get it uncontested. And, ooh, the Sir double whistling this one must not have been straight. And the line out will change hands and will go to the Deadbirds. Here comes second pod, and Christopher Friend's going to win this one for North Florida. North Florida sending it to their back line. Ford Green, Gonzalez looking for Leonard, and he's going to catch it in traffic. And hands in the ruck called against South Florida. Right idea there, but the Sir's going to say that Ford Green managed to secure possession. Nuremberg kicked this one out. Sir's holding on to his whistle. But it looks like this is going to stand, and this may be the final play of the first half. 31-0 the score in favor of the Bulls. North Florida won their last one. If they can win this one and march down the field, it would be instrumental. It would be instrumental, to possibly getting more in the second half. Contested, but Ford Setzer is once again going to reel it in. The hold by Martin, and this one's going to bounce, and it'll be a knock-on to end this half. And that is halftime. The score 31-0 in favor of the home team. We'll be right back. Game resumes, and it looks like Barbosa is going to stay in this game. Glad he's okay. North Florida maintains possession. Was supposed to be a freer. Gabriel Gonzalez pushing a man down. And this one runs right through the pod and picked up by Gonzalez. Or excuse me, by Barbosa. And here comes a big run by Martin. Martin looking, and he just doesn't get it. Yes, he does. And it looks like he did. The sir's going to say that it was forcefully put down, and Jason Martin puts 5 on the board for the Deadbirds. There is not much that can be said about Jason Martin. Just he has the speed and the elusiveness along with the play recognition on offense to get into, when he's in open space, he can really score, and we saw him there. It is North Florida looking to make it a little closer than it was. Reynolds, the 10, getting ready to take the conversion for North Florida. Kick is up and good. 39-7 the score in favor of the home team. However, North Florida is going to receive the kickoff here and can add more. After this week, South Florida looks to number 3 Florida State, currently number 3 Florida State, while UNF faces the 7-seeded FAU Owls in Florida Atlantic. Really unfortunate for North Florida. They had to do some of their biggest drives at the very end of the season. Here comes the kickoff by the Bulls. This one goes 10 and is caught by Kurak. Kurak into the ruck, and we're going to see a delayed penalty against South Florida. Holman. Barbosa. North Florida looking for their backs. Martin, and this one gets knocked. And the sir is going to award the delayed penalty off of a high tackle to North Florida. Very lucky there for the Deadbirds. And the UNF Deadbirds are going to look for a line out, kicking it, and she goes in touch off of the kick by Nuremberg. This one inside Deadbird territory between the 22 and the 10. Comes the line out, and Christopher Friend is going to win it. North Florida looking for their back line. Ford Green, Gonzalez with the hold. He's going to stay up, move around a little bit, a couple of spin moves while tackled. And he'll maintain possession. North Florida pushing back. Looks like Griffith has the ball. And it's stolen by the Bulls. No, it's not. No, it's not. North Florida moving backward, however, may need to consider an exit kick. Barbosa calling for the ball, running alone, passes it back, sends it to the back line. Ford Green to what looks like Kurak. This ball is loose, and now the Bulls will pick it up. Big push, and it will be a maul. No. Sir's going to blow this up, however, and it's going to call an, I think it looked like the sir said it was a knockoff off of a knockoff, or a knock-on on a knock-on, I should say. We're going to see a sub on the North Florida side as number 19, Eric Leoli, checks into this game for North Florida 9, Dylan Nuremberg. So North Florida now bringing in the backup scrummy in Leoli. To finish this game, it looks like. The scrum for South Florida, big push by the Deadbirds, and this one's gonna collapse. And the Sur is gonna blow this up, and it will be a penalty against South Florida, and North Florida ball, and a quick tap by the Deadbirds taken by Kurak. Kurak looking for the pass. It goes backward, picked up by the Deadbirds, and then brought down. North Florida, a couple of small gains as we take a look at Leoli. Here comes a kick, and South Florida's gonna pick it up and tackle just shy of the try line. The player puts it down and picks it back up, and South Florida's still gonna maintain the ball. North Florida tried to hold him up, but unfortunately he gets brought down. And now here comes that goal line defense for the Deadbirds. Sir telling the Deadbirds to roll away, but they're not able to. And it'll be a penalty against North Florida for not rolling away. You may have conceded a try on the last try may have gone to your opponent. The question though is, do you still go for the try? And they will. South Florida electing to attempt to get a try over the points. The Sur leaning down, looking to see if the ball crosses the try line. North Florida stopping 2 in a row since the penalty. Make that 3 in a row. South Florida starting to lose meters, and a kick caught by number 21 on the Bulls, and he will score. That is Caden Braun. Caden Braun got there for the short kick and just put it down right where he was. He didn't want to risk knocking it on or whatever. And it is now 44-7 in favor of the home side as we see Fort Setzer come off for Zane Canada, number 18. Burrell, the kick, looking for the conversion, make it 46-7. And he's looking to add his 21st point of the game. Kick is up, and it is wide as can be.
Best announcer in the state of Florida.
Someone just stole my microphone. Do apologize for that. North Florida will kick it back to the Bulls. Right around 16 minutes remaining in the second half, and most likely the game. However, the correct time and score are on the field with the Sur. Looking for Reynolds. The kick goes 10 straight down the middle, caught by the Bulls. The 15 kicks it off, Munoz, and just over the head of Leonard. Leonard chasing it down, finally makes it to it. Question is, who will he pass it to? He passes it to Eddie Gonzalez. North Florida with possession inside the 22. The ruck taken by Holman. Holman, the serve was saying possibly off his feet. The hold by Reynolds. Reynolds looking for open space, and it gets ripped out. The question is, did it go backwards? Did it hit someone? And the serve's going to let it play on, so it must have gone backwards. Gonzalez passes it to Buchanan. He stays put, and he tries to put the ball between his legs. Advantage called by the Sir. North Florida going to get another opportunity to drive down if they can. Griffin. And it will be a knock-on and advantage played by the Sir. Not rolling away is the call, the reason for the advantage. And the ball given to Kurak, who kicks this one out of bounds. A long one stayed in play for a little bit of time, and this one will go right to the USF 10.
Why not, guys? Keep going.
Kurak to throw it in. Canada is going to go quick, and they win it. While Fort Setzer definitely has the size, Canada has a little more speed. I know he wants to debate me on that, but, you know. But it doesn't matter as he manages to win the line out. However, this one is a melee for the ball, but it looks like Ford Green comes up with it. And this one gets knocked backward. And the Sir telling USF so as well. Gonzalez, Gabriel Gonzalez. Leoli looking for the backs. Ford Green, Eddie Gonzalez. Buchanan, Friend, holds on to it and passes it backward to no one, trying to ensure some kind of possession instead of letting it go out of bounds. Luckily for him, there was some North Florida players there, and the ball stays in their possession. Holman. Back line. Martin. To Ford Green, and is picked up. Went backward, was put down, and picked up by South Florida. South Florida looking to add on to that score of theirs. And the big tackle there by what looked like Kurak, assisted by Canada. Ball taken by Crystal. Aiden Crystal, who has checked into this game. I think he checked in a while ago, but I just didn't see it. South Florida on the edge, using some speed, and South Florida in the try zone, and they tap it down. Speed advantage there for South Florida as they make it a 49-7 game, 51-7 pending. Ever since I started saying that Burrell could get his 21st point, he has yet to get it. He does lead the game in terms of scoring, or I should say points. He does lead the game in terms of points. And we'll see if he can add on to that. Gonzalez and Barbosa out of the game for the Deadbirds. And the kick is up and good. 51-7 the score. Just above 10 remaining in this game. North Florida to kick it back. Reynolds with the ball. Only one has not gone 10, and this one will be no exception. Great kickoffs by Eli Reynolds on North Florida. USF looking to gain a lot of possession on that. Wish I knew who that was. In the hands of what looks like number 17, Vargas Martinez. South Florida looking for their back line. Not going to give it to them, though, is number 5. And a wide pass bounces off the foot of someone. And number 21, Braun makes 2 men run into each other, and Braun is going to add to the score. And he does. A very light put down by Braun. It was a bad pass by what looked like number 5, Derek Lysam. Braun ends up picking it up, using some fancy footwork, manages to get 2 North Florida players to run into each other, and it was just an open lane from there, and he manages to score. 56-7, the score now from Tampa. Now the question is, can Burrell, make it 23 points on the day? Here comes the kick. Leoli tried to block it, not going to get it. Michael Burrell, 23 points on the day by my estimation. Great game out of him. Personally, I think I'm going to call it right now. 2 tries, a penalty kick, and a bunch of other conversion kicks. I'm willing to name him first star of the game. If you're a fan of South Florida, you're now playing the numbers game. You're up 49 points. Excuse me, you're up 51 points over this opponent. However, UCF, who's in 4th, won their game, but not by as much. They won 33-5, so they won by 28 points, excuse me. So now you're doing the numbers game on whether you're going to play, and that ball is thrown way too high and out of bounds. It'll be a line out for North Florida. But if you're South Florida, you're playing the numbers game to see if you possibly can usurp UCF and just sneak your way into a guaranteed spot next season and a spot in the state semifinal game. It'll be a scrum down for North Florida.
Let's go! Why not, Connor? Eli, why not, buddy? Come on. Can we get a trainer for this? Why not, buddy? Count! 5! Set!
Crouch bind set, and this one's going to collapse. And it looked like it collapsed on the North Florida side. However, the serve's going to let it play on. Leoli picks it up, and North Florida's going to take this one. Leonard with the ball. This one in South Florida territory. Taken by the 8-man Kurak. The 10 looking for the pass, gets it to Holman. And this is one of the subs that just took the ball, Levon McGee. Sending it to the back lines. Martin to Griffin. Griffin looking for the pass, not going to get it, but it ends up in the arms of Christopher Friend. And here comes the the ruck, and it'll be hands in the ruck called against South Florida. And a quick tap by Christopher Friend. And touch judge says it went out of bounds even though it was nowhere near. Thankfully, the Sir did not notice that. And we're going to hear a whistle and a penalty called against North Florida. USF looking for kicking it in. Woo. Touch. And for the second time today, I almost end up with the ball in the face. Line out right on the South Florida 10. Haven't really given too much credit to South Florida hooker Giovanni Antonita. He's played a pretty good game so far as this one goes uncontested, but right through the arms of the liftee. However, South Florida is going to pick it up. That's the 15, Munoz. South Florida looking to get to the outside where they've been very effective today. However, they are tackled just short of North Florida territory. The Bulls, bit of a push by North Florida, not going to get it though. And this one bounces, and the Sir is going to say it bounced forward. We will see a knock-on and a scrum for the Deadbirds. Just about 3 minutes remaining to go in the game. 58-7 the score. Crouch bind set, last one collapsed, but the Sir let it play on. An 8-man pickup by North Florida. Here comes Kurak. Kurak to the weak side. Kurak looking for the dump off, gets it to Canada. Canada brought down. What a play by the 8-man Connor Kurak, and we will hear a whistle and a penalty against North Florida. Really unfortunate, right idea there by the 8-man Connor Kurak, and a great pass to what looked like Zane Canada, but just not going to make it, and this ball out of bounds into touch. We will see a South Florida line out just outside their 22. The game between STU and Florida started about 20 minutes ago. The score 6-3 in favor of St. Thomas down south. Really fun game personally. You got two teams that are 1 and 2 in the standings respectfully. And there's any team that has a chance of beating St. Thomas, it may be the Florida Gators. This one runs high and it is caught by the Deadbirds. The 8-man Connor Kurak. Kurak marching, and he puts it over. That is the first of the season for the 8-man Connor Kurak, who had great situational awareness and met the ball as it exited the line out. Was a little too high. Kurak managed to catch it and just rumbled his way to a try. 58-12 the score. North Florida making the deficit a little less. Reynolds, 1 of 1 so far on the conversion kicks. Pretty straight kick that he has. He'll do it from a tee. And he could possibly make it 14 points for the Deadbirds. Roughly 30 seconds remaining in this game on our clock. All eyes are now on the Sir. Reynolds' kick is up, and it is no good. Score remains 58-12, and the Sir says that there's still a little bit of rugby left to play, and you know what? I am all for it. Deadbirds will get this one back. Last few plays of the game are going to come from a kickoff to North Florida. My guess is next whistle will pretty much end it. Here comes the kickoff. Goes more than 10, and it is drops and picked up by Buchanan. The serve is going to blow the whistle and end the game off of that knock-on. Final score 58-12 USF over North Florida. Thank you everyone for tuning in to Florida College Rugby. We'll see you next week as South Florida plays the Florida State Seminoles and North Florida plays the FAU Owls. Have a good day, everyone.